Our first presenter this evening is John Edel. He's a UIC alumnus from the College of Architecture, Design, and the Arts. He's both an eco and a social entrepreneur and executive director of The Plant, an incredibly novel concept that combines adaptive industrial reuse and aquaponics and is the nation's first vertical farm. Located in a former meatpacking facility in Chicago's historic stockyards, The Plant is powered by the waste of neighboring businesses. His dream has been to combine industrial preservation, agriculture, and food production in a sustainable fashion, and I would say he has succeeded. Please welcome John Edel.
The Chicago Sustainable Manufacturing Center tells a story. It tells a story of taking a building that's as bad as it can be. This is a building that was given up for dead with whole courses of brick falling away from the sides, no roof. It was occupied by a white power biker gang. And we took this structure that had been cast off, and said, what can we do with it? Well, we can turn it into a green business incubator. And we can make 52, it has 52 permanent jobs in it now, using waste stream materials, using drywall that was going into landfills, using steel studs with surface rust and insulation that was going into landfills, and combining that with computer controlled mechanical systems and lots of other green features. On the roof is my daughter Zoe. She's now 8 years old, but at the time we did this, we planted 9,600 individual sedum plants, each of which is a pixel in her image. This was done entirely with volunteers, and the idea came from an intern, of course. So there's Zoe on the roof. And how do you make sustainability fun? That's one of the questions. How do you get it out into the mainstream and make it something that people want to do? And that's one of the major challenges that we face. So moving on from the sustainability side on the Chicago Sustainable Manufacturing Center, I purchased The Plant, which is a former meatpacking plant, a pork plant in the back of the yards. It's about a 100,000 square foot building. I was trying to find ways to reform the next step, which is food production. The way we produce food now is completely unsustainable, but we still have some of the remnants of this earlier era. This meatpacking plant is filled with usable materials, recycled materials that we can put to use in a new way, taking advantage of brick floors and floor drains and finding uses for what we have, not what we wish we had. And so what we're doing is we're going through this building and taking the individual pieces, stainless steel smokehouses, cutting them up and turning them into restrooms and offices and all kinds of different spaces, using the stainless for backsplashes and countertops, doing it with volunteers and paid staff, with architects and engineers who are volunteering their time, and transforming the structure that was, again, given up for dead. This one was called a strip and rip. You strip the stainless steel and the copper out and you rip it down. That was what the broker told me when I bought it. This building can't be saved, there's nothing you can do with it. Well, nowadays we have 2 bakeries operating. One is Pleasant House. They run a restaurant on 31st Street. We are creating about 140 permanent jobs within the facility and many more in construction and on the farms that are outside the building as well. So the food business incubation is the heart of it. The other bakery is called Peerless Bread and Jam. We have a wood-fired oven. It will soon be fired by briquetted distiller's grains. That's going to be a waste product from one of the 2 breweries that's moving into the plant right now. And we'll be capturing the waste heat on the back end of that oven as well as part of our domestic hot water heating loop. So all of these are ways we can use waste within the building. We have 5 farms in the building currently. 4 of them are for-profit, 1 is a nonprofit. The farms are growing greens, they're growing fish, they're selling wholesale mostly through our partners Testa Produce and through restaurants. The nonprofit farm works primarily on research and education, trying to inspire children, inspire adults to grow their own food and figure out how to do it not in the glass skyscraper model of the vertical farm that you see sometimes, but in existing industrial structures. And if you can figure that out, it's a vastly more efficient way of doing things. So we build aquaponic systems. In aquaponics, you're feeding fish The fish make waste. We're using some of the same bacteria that are in your stomach to convert that ammonia, the fish urine, into nitrites and further nitrates to feed the plants. So you feed the fish feed the plants, and the whole thing feeds you. So we work on these cycles, and then we feed the waste from that. So the solid fish waste is soil-based plants. We take the waste heat from the grow lights, and we heat the building with it. We take the waste oxygen, and we feed it to kombucha growing cultures in one of the breweries on site, who then give us carbon dioxide, as well as the beer breweries. We grow mushrooms. Mushrooms are an excellent example of taking waste and turning it into something. Our mushrooms have been on the table at Alinea and at Next. We do pink oysters and gnocchi. We do a variety of them, and they can be grown using waste heat and using the heat of the earth from underneath to keep the grow rooms at the right temperature. On the education side, we run classes, we do panel discussions, film screenings, because if you do a lot of innovative work, you need to talk about it. Otherwise, you're doing it in a vacuum and nobody else can learn from it. So we spread what information we have in an open source way. These days, we're running a farmer's market in conjunction with the Back of the Yards Neighborhood Council so that we can bring people from our community in to taste and to buy the products of the plant and the delicious foods that are grown there and made there. And to teach people also about raised bed agriculture in their own yards. So the plant is about closing loops. It's about taking the output of one process and making it the input of another process. Every human process has energy inputs and waste outputs. And how can you combine those? Even if you're not using 100%, if you're using 10% of that waste, then you've accomplished something. We have an anaerobic digester, which is under construction right now, that will consume 32 tons of food waste a day, every day, from neighboring food industries, from breweries, a fat rendering plant, from food stores, and turn it into biogas, which will be burnt in a combined heat and power system to make all of the energy to power the plant. So the plant is going to operate at net zero, meaning we'll be making all of our energy on site from waste. So if we can do all of these energy intensive activities at net zero, what are the excuses for not doing it? Why can't we change the way all food is produced and manufacturing is done? Thank you.